Welcome to the fastest stop in town. Today on Masechtas Be'ed Daf Ches, we are going to begin on the top of Ches Amud Aleph, 3 lines from the top. She'efer kira muchanhu. When it comes to the ashes that come from a stove, those are considered to be prepared and able to be used. So the question is, if you read the Mishnah, it doesn't really fit to what was said at the end. Efer kira man darker shmei. Who was talking about this? So Amarabba Hakikam, this is how you read it. Ve'efer kira muchanhu. Now when it comes to these ashes, this is considered to be prepared, and a person is allowed to use this as kisi hadam, for the purposes of covering the blood. Rabbi Yehuda Marav, lo shanu, the only time that we say that this is allowed is el shehusik me'erev Yom Tov. It was already burned from before Yom Tov. Aval husik b'Yom Tov aser. If, let's say, these ashes were only produced on Yom Tov itself, then it is not allowed. Says Rashi, the lekel memer daituleham esmol. You can't say that you already had intention because it wasn't there from Erev Yom Tov. So therefore, the only time it's allowed is it was already from before Yom Tov. Or v'im roy litzlis bo Beitzah mutter. If it's fit that it's still hot, that it's able to roast an egg, then it is also mutter. Tani mihachi kishamr efer kira muchanhu lo amr. The only time we said it's allowed el shehusik me'erev Yom Tov. Abel husik miyom Tov. Once it was already on Yom Tov, aser v'im roy litzlis bo Beitzah mutter. If it was able to roast an egg, it's still hot, then it is allowed. Question 3. Be'ez oifen efer kira muchanhu l'chasas bo. So as we said, there has to be that these ashes were already from Erev Yom Tov, and it's still hot and fit to be able to roast an egg. I believe that we have the exact same question over here. Question TA 13. Imotu l'taltal efer kira. Can we move the efer of a kira in order to cover the blood? Again, he says the same thing. Im husik me'erev Yom Tov. Oh. Shiroi litzos bo Beitzah mutter. Either one. The imam aser. He quotes Tosus. He quotes Yerushalmi. The im kfar shachad mutter l'taltal l'chasais. If maybe b'diavad it's acceptable. Rabbi Gibber's test, similar type of question, and the answer I wrote is as follows. If it was pre-burnt on Erev Yom Tov, but on Yom Tov it's aser, unless you can still roast an egg with it. Okay, fighter. Hichnis upper luginasai. Let's say a person has this dirt in the garden, chorvasai, or in their chorba, which is like a heap. Says Rashi, harbi b'makam echad. You have all of this in one central location, in one place, and it's typically for your garden, and so you're allowed to use that to cover up the dam. Says Rashi, the holzman shehu tzabur, as long as it's in a pile, daitalel sarcha. Your intention is for it to be used for anything, even though really that's not your purpose. Nonetheless, the Gemara says motel chasas boy, you're allowed to do kisei hadam with it. Rabbi Yehuda machnas adam moli kupasai afar v'oisav kol tzarchai. A person again can fill up his kupa, his sack, filled with afar, and he can use it for whatever purposes. And Rashi says, "V'lamrinan batlu gabi karka habayis." We don't say because it's a small amount of earth that it's considered to really be batul to the ground of the house. They didn't have stone floors; they had like dirt floors. So we say no, it's fine. Darish marzutra mishmei de marzutra rabba hu shiyachlo kern zavis. It can't just stam be earth anywhere. It has to be like in a corner, says Rashi. V'lo shachta the muchamilsa the tzarachav kaboila. The fact that you put it in this particular area in a corner, it shows that you wanted to for all different purposes, including for kisei adam. And then Rashi also says v'afer tichuach kaimer. Again, as we mentioned on the very top of this Amud, that it has to be loose earth. The eno mechusar l'chfira v'l'katisha el hachana. The whole issue is, was it prepared from before? However, there's no issues of grinding it or plowing it or any of the other malachos connected to it. Meisvei. when it comes to a koi, or some people call it a kvi, which is a suffix whether it is a domesticated or non-domesticated animal, and because of that, as the Gemara in the beginning of Masechtas Kedushin, Daf Gimel tells us that we take different chumras whether it's considered like a chai or a behema. So when it comes to this type of an animal, some call it a water buffalo. There's other different opinions. Gemara brings down in the Chulin what it is. Ein shaych denoi sabiyamtiv. We do not want you to shecht this suffix because again, on one hand it may be a chaya, and a chaya needs kisei adam. But the problem is, it may be a behemoth, but let's say a chaya. So the problem is, says Rashi, we're going to see you're not allowed to cover a koi on Yom Tov. We're strict because maybe it's a behemoth. So therefore, we don't want you to shecht it. And therefore, if you in fact do shecht it, we don't want you to cover it up. Why? Says Rashi, Deshema behemohu. The einbo mitzvahs kisui min matalton ha'afar l'kach. It's possible you're moving offer for a behemoth, which of course there's no mitzvah kisei adam for that. So therefore, we don't want you to shecht a koi on Yom Tov. But if you did, b'di'eved, so obviously what's done is done, we're not going to have you do kisei adam. Now, v'im isa, if it's true that we say that you can have offer which is prepared for any purposes, whatever, so why don't we say l'chasei kol Rabbi Yehuda? Why don't we say, like the sheet of Rabbi Yehuda, that even if it's for a behemoth, so let's say you have blood spilled, so you can cover it up because it's dirty and you don't want the blood there, so you may want to cover up the blood. So why do we have a problem when it comes to the koi? They're allowed to do this on Yom Tov. So the Gemara says, "O tamech." So according to your reasoning, l'chusim be'afar kira o b'dakar noyetz. So why do you have to stick to this question about this pile of earth? Maybe you can say that you have already ashes in an oven, or you already have a spade that's stuck in the ground, that even Beis Hill has no problem with that. Oh, the lacelay, how can I be the lacelay? We're talking about you don't have, and since you don't have, we don't want you to start using anything other than maybe this earth that's in a pile. But the problem is, we don't want you to use it for this koi. Yuhachi my iri suffix if you'll vadinamilo. Well, we shouldn't want you to do it at all, says Rashi. The Beis Hillel kaimal de asri. Beis Hillel holds that you're not allowed to do it. They feel the eved below dakar noyetz. He only allows if there is a spade in the ground, but there's no dakar noyetz, as we're saying. So even Beis Hillel wouldn't allow it. So why are we saying, oh, it's an issue when it comes to this koi, the suffix? It's an issue in general. Whereas it's loma boy comer. Loma boy vaday lishchayt. When it comes to an animal which there's no suffix, as far as it definitely being a chaya, we still do not want you to shecht it, because there's definitely an issue, because there's kisei hadam, you can't do the kisei hadam. According to Beis Hillel, you don't have a decker note, you have nothing. Maybe we'll say, we're going to allow you to do it, don't worry about it, because there's a chance you don't have to do kisei hadam anyway, so shecht it and don't do kisei hadam. Kamash malan, that's the chiddush. That even when it comes to a koi, that we don't want you to do so, because of the, again, it's a possibility that you really are chayav to do it, but we're not going to have you do the kisei hadam because it's not there. So on this we continue the chesed and beis. The tiny seifa, but it says in the seifa, it says v'im shachat in mechasen es damoy. It says that if you did the shchita, then the din is you don't cover its blood. L'chlal, the reisha b'de'isli askinam. L'chayra, it's talking about a situation where you do have the ability to do it. So, Ella Omer Rabba Efer Kira Muchen Levadai. The Ein Muchen L'Safek. So this is actually the answer. Why can't we say just use Efer Kira? So yeah, it is Muchen, but it's only Muchen Levadai. For an animal that's for sure Mechuyev in Kisei Adam. The Ein Muchen L'Safek. So this koi is a suffix. So this earth that you set aside was not for this purpose, and therefore you cannot use it. So l'safek my time low. The ka'avid guma. So what's the whole issue? Is because you're going to end up like digging a hole. So vadinami ka'avid guma. You're doing the same thing when it comes to a vadai. Ella kirab abba hachanami kirab abba. So we say rather it's like Rav Abba. What does Rashi say? Vadai, when we're talking about a case of a Vadai, my time is shortest. Why is it allowed? Rabbi Abba, Yermil El, he says, Mekalkelhu, Upater Aleha. We said that when you dig a hole, but you want the offer, so it's not an issue because it's Mekalkel. You don't want, it's not an issue of binyan. So l'chayr, you should say the same thing by Suffolk. The l'chayr shouldn't be an issue there either. So why by Suffolk is it a problem? It's not, if we're lenient like the sheet of Rav Abba. El Suffolk my time Dilma Avid Katisha. You may end up again grinding it up. So Vadi Nami Nigza Mishum Katisha, it's the same problem. No Vadi Kiko Avid Katisha, when you grind it up, Asi Asay V'Dachi Eslois Asay. An Asay will come and be Daicha the Los Asay, again the Asay of Kisi Adam over the Los Asay of doing Malacha. So Emer Damrin Asay V'Dachi Eslois Asay, maybe the only time we say an Asay is Daicha Los Asay is going to go in Meal B'Saras. When it comes to a meal, when it comes to if there's saras on the makam meal, or inami sedin but tzitzis. Let's say you have wool and linen in your tzitzis. The inna to come ma'akr lav come like say. Over there, it's true you're violating one thing, but you're doing the mitzvah at the same moment. Hacha the inna to come ma'akr lav loy mokim say. Over here, you're digging it up. You haven't done the asay of kisei adam yet. So maybe we don't say asay is daichalos asay, only in the situation where they happen simultaneously. So halokasha. The bahadi de katish kamachasi. So you do it at the same time. So save yomtav asay velos asehu. Then asay daiches los asay vasay. So we have a different problem. That when it comes to yomtiv, it's not just a los asay, there's also a mitzvah asay. And the los asay cannot be daicha los asay and an asay. Rashi says that said b'yom rishon shabasayin the mashmashus el omerava efer kira daitul avad ve'in daitul asafek. So this is similar language, but again, when it comes to this efer kira, your das is only for vadai. Your das is not in the safek. It says Rashi hilkach iser muksa ika. It's an issue of muksa v'hu adin lo Rav Yehuda. And therefore, that's the reason why it's a problem. But as the Rabbi time idim Rabba hichnes afal chases by soa. A person, let's say, prepares offer to cover up waste. Mutal chases bo dam sipor. You can cover up blood of a bird. Dam sipor. If let's say the purpose is to cover the blood of a bird, asal chases by soa. According to him, you're not allowed to cover up soa. Says Rashi. B'yomtiv. If let's say you have offer to cover up soa on yomtiv, sheish lo tinik. You have a little kid. The Yerushem Yatul Rei be Yomtul fun, but maybe he'll produce waste in front of you, so you have this dirt to cover up the soa. So therefore, if you have that dirt for that purpose, you're allowed to also use it to cover up the blood of a bird. Says Rashi, Sheshul Lishcha be Yomtiv. You can shecht. Kivandas Manino Safek Kol Shekain Levadai. So since there's a chance your child will end up needing this dirt because maybe they soil themselves. So you definitely can use it for something which is a vadai. However, the other way around, not. That if, let's say, you have it designated for the bird, which is for sure, right, dam sipur vadai, because you are definitely planning on shechting, so therefore, again, and you definitely need it for kisei dam, the soa is a suffix. You don't know if necessarily you're going to need it, and therefore, your das is only on the vadai. Your das is only on the vadai, but not on the suffix. So therefore, this is again a proof that if you designated offer for the purposes of a suffix, such as again for your child soa, then you can use it for a vadai, but not the other way around. He's lenient and says no. Even when it comes to your das for a suffix, such as soa of your child, that you could use, even though that it was really only used initially, it was thought to be used only for vadai. Okay. Amir ben Rabbi, Pligi ben Rabbi Yosi bar Chama bar Zera. There's an argument between the two of Yermila, Rabbi bar Rabbi Yosi bar Chama bar Zera Chadaimer Koi Harihu Kasaya. Some say the din of a koi has the same din as soa, which means Chadaimer Koi Enu Kasaya. So what does it mean? It's like soa. Again, soa is like the suffix situation. So the question is, if you have the a for kira, which is for a vadai, so your das is for something which you definitely are going to need it for, but not for soa. So also maybe a koi has the same din as like the soa, and therefore you're not allowed to use this a for kira. To stayim de Rabbi hudi armor koi harihu kasaya, that says therefore you would not be allowed to use this for covering up the blood of a koi. The armor Rabbi hichnas upper lachasas bo soa mutal lachasas bo dam sipor asal lachasas bo soa to stayim. So again, he says they're not allowed to do it because he holds something for a vada cannot be used for a suffix. Rabbi bered the Rav yavoy armor koi hainu taima. The reason why the reason why we do not cover the dam on Yom Tov of a koi is gezer mishum hataras chelboi, because of the concern of matering its fats. What does that mean? If we cover it up, people think it's a chaya. We know that the din of chaylev, of fats, is only when it comes to a din of a behema. However, if we matter to do kisoi, people are going to say, oh, this is definitely 100% a chaya, and therefore you're definitely allowed to eat its fats. But maybe it's a behema, and if it's a behema, there's an isser chaylev. So therefore, we have to make some distinction and not allow you to do so. Yihaki afil b'chol nami. So we should have an issue in general, even on a weekday. The b'chol amri l'naker chatzeru tzarich. Maybe you're just saying, oh, you just come to clean up your house. So shachat ba'ashba malkamemar. What if you do the shchita of the koi in a garbage heap? Certainly not trying to clean over there. But limlach malkamemar. What if actually someone comes to consult you and asks what you should do? El b'chol inami masafka amri l'rabanan zil tarich l'chase. When it comes to a weekday, even when it comes to a suffix, we say, yeah, go ahead and do it. Why not? It's a weekday. But Yom Tov, masafka, if it's a doubt, mi amri l'rabanan zil tarich l'chase, we're not going to tell you to go and cover it. So therefore, that is another distinction. We're going to stop there. Let's see a couple more questions. Question 4. Madua in mechasin dam shchitas koi afil be'efer muchan. Why can't you use efer muchan to cover the dam of a koi? Either daitul avadai ve'in datul suffix, right? You only have das for a vadai, not for a suffix. Or gezer mishum hataras chelboi. As we said, maybe you'll matter its fats. Fine. TB 16. Nis'ariv lo dam behema im dam chayav yeshel efer muchan im yachal achas l'chasoisai. Do we do this? We did that already. Okay, that was in yesterday's daf. Let's see Rabbi Gibber's test, and then we'll stop. Fine. A person only has das for a vadai, but doesn't have das for the suffix. A person might make a mistake and say that the koi is mamash achaya and the fats are good. Either we only say this by things where at the exact same time you do the asay, you do the los asay, or in asay daiches los asay v'asay. Adkan.